So we're talking about human feces and its use. You believe if we used human feces, we could sustain millions of acres or thousands of acres of plant life, and we would stop polluting the nation's streams and oceans.
It's the way it was meant to be. We weren't.
And I was saying that would never happen because people have kind of like, it's a taboo to even talk about feces and getting rid of it. It's like that's for the sewage department to handle.
Until it starts to happen, we're going to keep polluting the oceans. Look at the amount of municipal waste that's dumped into our rivers and oceans every day. It needs to happen because a bear still shits in the woods, and every time he does, he's providing nutrients to the plant growth, and dogs still do their thing, and all the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom still have a symbiotic relationship with each other that's natural. It's only man has broken away from that and thinking that they have to somehow contain their waste. Nature has a way of utilizing the waste products of animals, and we are animals.
I have a feeling a lot of diseases would happen if they took all the human crap in the world and started spreading it around everywhere.
That's a myth. That's an absolute myth. And look at the amount of disease that's happening because they're dumping toxic municipal waste into the oceans every day. Millions and millions and million gallons of municipal waste are dumped into the oceans, and it's creating a cesspool for our marine life and our fish. We need to get away from that. We need to start thinking in terms of taking care of the earth instead of trying to conquer it. You can compost human manure in a matter of a few years. Use that as something that's beneficial to plant life.
So you would say get back to outhouses again.
Human manure. In my view, an outhouse is far more friendly to the environment than a municipal sludge pit that's dumped into the waterways.
But
yes,
your common person would say, ew, an outhouse,
no,
I don't want to go into an outhouse.
Would that work in the cities? Probably not, because people are congested, the cities are congested, people live so close together, and so they have municipal watersheds and all this other garbage, but that's what's ruining the world. That's why I say we have to move away from the sort of culture that we're locked into. We have to get back to nature and get back to permaculture. And permaculture involves recycling human waste and giving it back to the earth. We're just overloading the waterways and the oceans with toxic waste. It doesn't get back into the earth, it's dumped into the water. The trees can transfer human waste and utilize it as nutrients. I got 2 dead dogs buried over there, and that tree's absorbing all the nutrients from those dead dogs, and that's the way, that's the way it was meant to be.
I heard the Native Americans used to do that with corn. They bury a fish with the corn.
Sure.
And that decomposing fish would really help the plant grow.
And it does, absolutely. And human manure can do the same thing. It's a myth that it spreads disease. It does spread disease. Now, if you're living in a city like over in London where they had all the blights and diseases spreading, it's because we are too congested as a society. You can't bring millions of people together and concentrate them like we have in the cities and try to control.
By natural means.
We obliterated the plant life, the plant kingdom. We basically decimated the plant kingdom so that we could live there. Instead of living in harmony with the earth, we conquer.
Well, the utility company in my area is now giving, every year, they give my parents a free tree to plant. I mean, that's at least good.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not saying that's not even coming close.
But how many trees did it take to build their house?
A lot?
A lot. I think we should be planting trees once a week.
Wow, that'd be a lot of trees.
Yeah, it would be a lot of food, wouldn't it? You'd be able to walk down. I have a vision of being able to walk down anywhere you go, where if you're hungry, you can pick a piece of fruit off the tree. Why isn't the earth like that right now? Why can't we walk down the street and pick a piece of fruit off the tree and eat it if we're hungry?
Well, why don't we make a YouTube channel where all we do is plant fruit trees everywhere? We get people to donate to us, or we get really cheap trees, and all we do is start guerrilla planting trees everywhere.
Have you ever heard of the Fukushima balls?
No.
No, this Japanese guy invented this little seed ball that they take it and you plant it. Well, it's like Johnny Appleseed. He went around, you read the poem I wrote about Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah.
Johnny Appleseed had a vision. He wanted to repopulate the earth with fruit-bearing trees. Why is it when we go to a city park we don't have fruit trees growing all over the place so that people can enjoy the fruit off that? It's because corporate giants don't want you to be able to have free food. This earth,
So you're saying if we went around planting fruit trees in
if
city
everybody
parks,
went out and planted a seed,
they would chop the
how could they
landscapers.
stop it?
The landscapers would try to cut it
they
up.
wouldn't be able to stop it. There's too many people. The 99% need to take control of this earth and start fighting back. And one way to fight back is go out and plant something that can be eaten.
Well, we could do that.
We could do that. We could spend all day going out planting seeds. Yeah, let's get a rally of people going out.
So
and
you would
planting.
take a seed.
I do it every day.
Put it in a ball of manure.
Clay. They mix it with clay. They have clay balls and they put seeds in there and they just go around and throw them. And you know what? Nature will take care of the rest.
You got to throw them in an area where that's being watered. That would be key.
Well, there's desert seed balls too.
Really?
They have desert seed balls where they're trying to repopulate lands that have been clear cut by foresters. They have seed balls with trees. So you throw a seed ball and a year or two later the trees start to come back up again. And there's a huge effort all over the world by permaculturalists, I call them, that are trying to restore the planet by planting things. Think about a vision where if everybody did that, if the 99% did that, and they went out and they planted something that was edible, we would be able to walk around and live
For free.
for free, like down in the jungles. Do the primates in the jungles, do they have to worry about going to the grocery store every day? No, they live like kings compared to us. We have to worry about whether we have enough money to go buy fruits and vegetables and other food stuff, where in a jungle it's rich in foliage.
They just take advantage of the resources.
They walk around all day, and whenever they get hungry they can pick a banana or a peach or an apple off a tree and eat. And why can't we do that? Because we've become too systematic. We've become too indoctrinated in a world that's basically plows down the forest and
Well, I mean, in my area, Riverside, we got orange groves for miles and miles.
try to pick one and see if you don't go to jail.
Well, I do all the time.
Okay, well you
I
get
mean, you
caught
just do it-
picking them and you get a fine, right?
Yeah, but no
that's-
one really catches you because they're everywhere. But I guess we don't think of oranges as that big of a deal. But if you're in Michigan, it's like, dang, you got oranges? But like, I got orange trees growing in my yard, and I just have too many oranges.
Well, you know, a lot of people do that, and a lot of people.
Once you start growing your own fruit trees, you realize the abundance of it. But that may just be our climate, because in other parts of the country, isn't it hard to grow fruits and
But
stuff?
see, with orange groves, with these monocrops, they are manifesting a lot of other problems. Like, it's not natural to grow a single crop on 500,000 acres, because you start to get disease, you start to get pests that attack that one crop, and then what do they have to do? They have to start spraying. And not only that, but they're depleting the soil. There's no, you go down to some of these big monocrops where they plant nothing but broccoli. Dig up the soil and look at count the number of earthworms that are in that soil, and I can tell you, you're not going to find any. Why? Because they have sprayed chemically based, oil-based, petroleum-based fertilizer onto that soil, and it wipes out, and insecticides and all the rest of the stuff, and it basically wipes out even the good bacteria that's in the soil. And it's like a black hole, and the more they do it, the worse the soil becomes. And most of those fruits that grow on those trees are defunct. They're devoid of any
it's like
nutrition whatsoever. They don't even taste like oranges.
or tomatoes. Those are the worst.
You've
man.
eaten some of the fruits and vegetables here on the property, and one of the things that you were amazed with, George, is how they taste. They have a taste.
Yeah.
Everything has a... Go pull up a carrot right there, and you know what? I'll bet you've never tasted a carrot, like a fresh carrot pulled out of the ground that's allowed to be a carrot. They don't allow them to be the oranges and the peaches.
How do you stay sane in this world that we live in, man?
Struggle.
All you can do is take it day by day and do the best. You're doing a lot, man.
You know,
I mean, you created a nice.
I hang on to a hope and a vision that the world can change, that the world will wake up, and that people will start to come out of the matrix, and they'll realize that we don't have to live in slavery and bondage. Pick up a seed, and go plant it, and they can't stop it. If the 99% did that, they wouldn't be able to stop it. We could repopulate this earth. There's enough material resources on this planet and human resources to change this planet. All we have to do is direct them from the mindset of being a slave to the mindset of being free. Like Johnny Appleseed, Johnny Appleseed went around planting. He had a vision. His vision died.
Yeah, what's the whole story with
the corporate farmers? I ought to read that poem to you.
What did he do?
He went around. He had a vision that the earth could be a place that produces abundant fruits and vegetables.
So he went around planting seeds.
So he went around planting seeds.
Why was that?
He spent his life planting apple trees.
And
so
why
that
was
people, so that future generations could enjoy the fruits of the earth free.
And why was that so controversial?
Because the corporate interests couldn't make money off of free fruit trees growing everywhere. So what do? They go around and they clear cut the land. And then they put fences up and they control the food supply. And that's what's happening today. These corporate giants are controlling the food supply. And you know, the sad thing is, they can come right out and publicly make a statement saying, our intent is to control the world food supply. It's like Monsanto. That is their goal, is to be able to control the world food supply. So they genetically modify seeds so that they won't grow, that plant won't produce seeds that you can take and grow your own food stuff next year, because they genetically modified that plant so that it won't produce seeds. So what happens then? You're stuck buying their seeds, their seed stock. And that's power and control for them. You control the world food supply, you've got everybody. Literally.
I got a question for you. Talking about human
Buy the Fukushima balls. Buy the balls.
Check those out.
Fukushima had a vision. You buy heirloom seeds.
Yeah?
And there's still some heirloom seed companies. And I wouldn't buy a seed that wasn't heirloom.
So what do you think about people that go camping or hiking? They always say to bury your feces rather than leave it on top of the soil. It sounds like you don't have an opinion either way.
Do the apes and the dogs and the cats bury? Well, the cats bury their feces, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But the thing of it is, when the sun hits a drop of waste, within days it
dries.
It dries. It breaks apart, and the rain usually. The rain will eventually wash those nutrients into the soil, and it provides nutrients for the grasses. Look at the plains of the old plains where the buffalo used to
So it's just
roam.
an unsightly for somebody else, and you're just trying to...
The buffalo didn't bury their waste, and what it did is it fertilized the plains, and they had incredible grasses. It's nature's way. Nature is designed to take care of itself. There's a symbiotic relationship in all of nature. And man is the only creature that has lost touch with that symbiosis. Man is the only creature that's lost touch with that and thinks that they can outmaneuver nature. And all we've done is make this planet into a toxic wasteland.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about burying my waste, but if you're in a city...
Sorry about that.
That's okay. If you're in a city...
You have to.
And you go shit on a sidewalk, yeah, that's a little different scenario. But again,
Okay.
we're going back to the same... if I'm out camping and I want to go take a shit in the woods, maybe I will bury it if there's other people that could walk along and step on it. But then again, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll let the sun hit it for a few days. The stuff will dry out. The water will bring it into the ground, and the grasses will absorb all those nutrients.